people's brains literally get on the same wavelength and sync up emotionally when they listen to music. It really seems that music is that universal language that tunes our brains to feel closer and more connected to one another. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anna, aka NeurogalMD. As many of you know, I'm a neurologist who loves making videos about the brain and health. I also love music, so I like reacting to music videos because I feel that music is really good for the brain, and it also helps to connect us by listening together. And connection in this modern world is something that we could always use more of. So today I'm going to be watching Disturbed's version of The Sound of Silence. Now, the original song was produced by Simon and Garfunkel, I believe in 1964. So I found this quote by Paul Simon regarding the meaning of the song when I was doing a little bit of background research on it, and I thought it was pretty profound. So he said that the song was meant to emphasize people's inability to communicate with each other, not particularly intentionally, but especially emotionally. So what you see around you are people unable to love each other. And here we are, still, decades later, continuing to grapple with the same challenge of an inability to communicate with each other. I decided to react to this music video specifically this week because I thought it was so fitting for the times. We just had the recent US presidential election, and just based on what I see on social media and the media, it just seems like the division and the divisiveness between people is pretty strong. So I thought this would be a fitting song to revisit. So let's get started.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of...
Lots of imagery here. It's black and white to highlight all the shadows. The scenery looks very desolate with dead trees and musical instruments, which once probably brought a lot of beauty and joy to people's lives, are now falling apart. The lead singer's voice is very haunting, and it's interesting that his eyes are closed. I think his eyes are closed. Yeah, his eyes are closed at the beginning of the song, and then he opens them up intentionally. And to me, that it's very obvious that this is a song meant to try to wake people up from their sleep.
Of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people riding
me stop it there. That verse, powerful. Let's pull it up. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. So this really is a powerful verse, which highlights how people talk. People can talk without truly connecting, and how often that happens. We don't truly talk with each other to connect. We talk at each other. We don't listen to each other. Instead, we project our demons and our shadows onto others. It's interesting that this was written in the 1960s, and it's just as relevant today. We villainize the other side, we dehumanize them sometimes, and we justify our hatred without actually listening to what the other side is about. I wanted to talk about one thing that I think might be going on that is contributing to the divisiveness between people. And that has to do with our nervous system. We have a part of the nervous system called the autonomic nervous system, and it regulates our ability to fight off threats and defend ourselves in the face of threats. And it also is responsible for ensuring that the parts of our bodies involved in relaxation are active when we are in non-threatening environments. This system, the autonomic nervous system, is split up into the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is associated with threat response. It's also known as the fight or flight response. So when we are in a threatening situation, our sympathetic nervous system is activated and we either prepare to fight our threat or run away from it. I think our nervous systems are not equipped to deal with the modern world. We have constant notifications from our phone, just living a very busy, fast-paced lifestyle. It just chronically activates our sympathetic nervous system. And when our sympathetic nervous system is chronically activated, we are chronically, constantly on the lookout for threats. That is what we're priming our brains to do. Look for threats, identify them. It's a natural reaction, right? When we're bombarded by mainstream news outlets that often focus on all the negative things happening in the world, it activates our sympathetic nervous system chronically. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's important to understand what is going on globally. I think it's important to be informed, to understand the suffering others go through so that we can make personal decisions that support those who need help in any way that we can. But there is a line that, in my view, the mainstream media outlets often cross. They seem to intentionally emphasize negative or fear-inducing stories because obviously, these spins keep people hooked more easily, and they want good ratings. So how do you get good ratings? You keep them hooked with negative news, and you emphasize it and hyperbolize it. So when we're exposed to a constant fear-driven news cycle, it chronically activates the sympathetic nervous system and is detrimental to our mental and physical health. It keeps us in a constant state of fight or flight, and it primes our nervous system for any potential threats so that we can protect ourselves. Now, the other part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, it has two main branches. It's the ventral and the dorsal parasympathetic nervous system branches. So the ventral parasympathetic nervous system is activated when we're relaxed, when we're joyful, when we're open to connection. This ventral activation primes our bodies and brains for pro-social, compassionate bonding and behavior. So how do we promote activation of the ventral parasympathetic nervous system that fosters compassion and listening and emotional connection? There are so many ways. Music is one way. You can limit your screen time, your scrolling on social media. Spending time in nature is a huge way to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, because nature, being exposed to the nature sounds and nature visually, has a very calming effect on our nervous system. You can engage in creative activities, meditate, pray, go to spiritual or social gatherings, and most importantly, if you want to activate that ventral parasympathetic nervous system, you have to rest. Resting is so underrated, but it's really important for our nervous system because it allows us to reset our nervous systems.
Disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell
That voice.
and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed.
This imagery is so powerful. We have this group of people standing together, holding pieces of music. And to me, that emphasizes how unifying music can be. Perhaps the creators of this music video are trying to convey that even in this broken world where conventional language really isn't helping people to connect, that perhaps music is that universal language that allows people to break through their barriers, connect with each other emotionally, and to have compassion for each other. And when you look at it from a neuroscience perspective, which I've looked through a lot of different neuroscience papers on music's effects on the brain and music's effects on people's psychology, there is actually evidence that backs up this idea that music can bring people together. When we listen to music, when we sing or dance to songs that really move us, our brains release a hormone called oxytocin. So this is a hormone that's largely responsible for social bonding and social connection. So the release of oxytocin when you listen to music can actually make you feel closer to other people. And then music also activates the pleasure and reward centers of our brain. So specifically, there's a region in the brain called the nucleus accumbens. So this combinational activation of the reward systems and the bonding regions of the brain help to promote pro-social bonding type behavior. Also, when we listen to music with other people, our brains actually start to mirror the emotional states of the people that we're listening to the music with. This is largely due to a type of neuron called the mirror neurons in our brains. And so this allows us to become in sync with the emotions of the people with whom we're listening to the music. So people's brains literally get on the same wavelength and sync up emotionally when they listen to music that really resonates with them. So really, if you look at that data, it really seems that music really is that universal language that tunes our brains to feel closer and more connected to one another. And I think that's so beautiful. And I really think that this music video is trying to convey that.
Of silence, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words on the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Oh my God. That was incredible. Thank you so much for recommending this song. I think it was Indie B who just kept commenting on every video that I've released that I need to react to this song. And now I know why. This was incredible. I want to go back to that last verse. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. I feel like this line reflects people's tendencies to create and worship artificial gods and idols, things that are flashy and look appealing, but ultimately are meaningless. And so I feel like neon god could represent a variety of different things. But I think it boils down to aspects of our lives that are deeply devoid of meaning, but that we believe will provide us the meaning that we so desperately want in our lives. So this could be technology like AI, social media, consumerism, a deep desire for fame, political ideologies. But there's no substance in those neon gods. They're flashy, they look good on paper, but they provide absolutely no meaning and make us feel more empty than ever. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And then it says, the sign said, the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence. True wisdom, the stuff that actually matters, doesn't come from external noisy sources. It doesn't come from glamorous sources, but from the quiet whispers of introspection, from deep within, from those quiet moments where we actually can be able to tune out all those loud, flashy neon distractions. Perhaps what we're looking for, that sense of meaning, that sense of connection with one another, that sense of connection with ourselves, is not found in the things that society keeps shoving in our faces. It's in the silence, in the quiet voices of our hearts. Again, thank you for recommending this video to me, especially Indie B. Thank you for being persistent, and we'll catch you next time.